Welcome on into the very first weekday live show here on Seahawks Today with your host, Will Ortner. I am so excited to be here and talk all about the Seattle Seahawks for the next little bit or so. But before I do, I want to make sure that I can give some shout-outs and talk to the people who are here supporting me and producer Reed. So it's roll call time. Spam 12 in the chat. And I'm going to start giving shout-outs to all you beautiful people who are here with us today. Jalen Milroe's biggest glazer. Nice name, bro. Nice name. What's up, dude? Ryan Nelson, how you doing? You like K9? You want him to succeed, but Charbonnet deserves to start. I kind of agree with you, Ryan. I think that Charbonnet has done enough at this point to make sure that he should be getting the majority of the touches. Daniel, how's it going, man? Blake, what's up, dude? I'm going to butcher your name, so I already apologize. Malvina, did I get close? You let me know in the chat. Let me know. Let me know. Chris Knows Ball, what's up? Like a Boss 676, how you doing? 28 of us right now hanging out, spamming 12 in the chat. What is up? How's it going? Joining me also today. Want to make sure that he gets his shout out and gets his shine. How's it going, Xander the Great? Nice. Joining me today, it's all right. Producer Reed, how are you doing, brother? Oh, no. No, Mike. Hold on. He's going to be there in a second. I'll call you Mal. No worries. I got you. Mal, shout out. Sorry if I got your name
wrong. How about
wrong.
now?
Ooh, Producer Reed, are you here, brother?
I am here.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Let's see. Can you guys hear me? There we
I
go.
can hear you.
I'll turn myself up a little bit. There we go. What's up, everybody?
Heck yeah. Dude,
I think this is the first time I've been on
Yes.
the Seahawks stream.
Yes. Behind the scenes, you've been basically holding my hand like a child crossing the street.
Not that much.
But you've been...
It's been mostly you.
Well, you haven't gotten a chance. It's mostly been Producer Colin, but Producer Colin is he's out today.
He is. He's having fun.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I can say. Okay.
He's having fun at a wedding.
There we go. Shouts out.
He's not sick and he's not gone. So
No.
It's
Not gone.
It's good, but
not gone.
Holy cow.
cow.
A lot of people in here.
We do have a lot of people. 37 people, 11 likes. Make sure if you like the Seahawks, you go in and hit that thumbs up button.
We got to get that like button.
We got to smash that like button, get that thing up. Bruce, how's it going? Johnny Bobo, all the way from the UK, an international show.
Hello.
We've done pretty good with the international audience. We get a lot of Canadians, which we did have a Chat Sports host here yesterday try and claim that Canadians are not international, and that was a funny conversation.
They technically are.
It's not technically. It's another country.
It is.
Yes. Yeah, there. It's another country. It's an international show. That is fantastic. Almost all the way up to 40 viewers, 14 likes right now. Let's get those numbers up. How's it going, Pika? What's up?
It's the same continent, though.
Yeah, but it's a different country. Yeah. It's international. Unless my definition of international is incorrect.
You're not wrong.
I know. How's it going, Robert Craig? J-Sack, what's up, brother? Jalen Milroe's biggest glazer. I love that he's having a conversation right now about our poll. If you haven't had a chance to go and vote on that, head on over. We've got who should be RB1, Zach Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker III. Right now, Jalen Milroe's biggest glazer, it's clear, is a true Zach Charbonnet fan. He's really wanting Zach Charbonnet to get some love. Why don't we start telling the people what's going to be coming up today, Reed? We've got 3 segments. It's going to be a full, fun show. I'm going to give you some updates on the latest injuries for the Seahawks. We do have some good news on some fronts. We got some bad news on some fronts. Worried about specifically a couple players in the secondary. Then we'll get into 5 Hawks that you're going to want to watch this Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. A couple of the guys, they had a pretty good first game, but they need to continue to show that they are growing, and also with some of the potential injuries, need to make sure that they are up to par. While the other 3, well, they didn't do well. And I'm not going to come out here and sugarcoat anything, but I'm also not going to absolutely blast anybody either. That just wouldn't be fair, but we'll get into those players who need to step up. Here are your injury updates that we're going to get into. Devon Witherspoon, look, when you're not practicing on a Wednesday, that's scary to me. I'm worried about it. I'll dive into what the injury is, why he wasn't ready to go. We're going to talk about Nick Eamon-Worry. At this point, look, I don't think we're going to see him this Sunday. In fact, I'd be pretty darn shocked if we do. But is that only going to be a one game that he misses? Is he going to miss an entire month? These are the questions that we need to get to the bottom of, and I'll help you get there during that segment. And Uchenna Nwosu, he's back. We'll talk about the outside linebacker adding depth to your Seattle Seahawks. And then we're going to end the show with a mailbag. Now, here's what's most important for the mailbag. We want to make sure that we get your question up and on the show. So the best way to do that is to either use the hashtag Seahawks and put your question down below in the comments, or if you said, Will, I have to know the answer right now, you can send in a super chat and we will make sure that you jump all the way to the front of the line. Producer Reed had to explain this concept to me because, well, I don't do fairs or amusement park rides, but apparently there's this thing that you can use. It's a fast pass. If you buy that, you pay a little bit extra. What happens?
You pay a little bit extra. I think anybody who's been to either Disney World or I don't know, just an amusement park, fast pass.
You jump to the front of the line.
You get to jump the line. I remember growing up, I was never in the family of having a fast pass. I was always just the regular line.
Yeah.
And I would always watch the people walk by in the fast pass, and I'm like, screw you.
Just looking at them in pure envy.
I'm like, come on. I'm trying to get on this ride too, and they're just skipping me. And then since I've I have my own money and I'm going by myself. By myself.
You're a fast pass guy?
I'm always a fast pass guy.
Really?
You have to. You have to. You'll lose the whole day waiting in line.
That's true.
Now you can the whole day waiting in line. Rides. I'd rather spend that money and build it into the budget of going there. You can go there for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
But then you're just waiting in line the whole day. It's hot. I'm not doing that.
See, I'm not a fair guy. I'm not a ride guy. In fact, terrified of heights. The irony, as I'm 6'5". So I've never used a fast pass. I've never seen people with a fast pass. But apparently it's a pretty big deal. So if you have a burning question, you want to make sure that it gets answered, you're going to want to make sure you send in that super chat. By the way, we're not necessarily doing this today, but on last Sunday's watch party, we got to debut the Seattle Seahawks Today Hall of Fame Club. So here's how the Hall of Fame Club works for those of you who didn't get to be there. We've got the helmet and we've got the skull and crossbones stickers. You send in a $50 super chat. I'm going to write your name down, and I'm going to smack it up here on the helmet just like I did for Randall and Cody and Brian and Banana. Going to make sure that we get all your names on there. So if that is something that you'd like to be a part of, you can always send in the 50, or you can come in and hang out with us on Sunday when the Seahawks take on the Steelers in a pivotal must-win ball game. So right now, while you have the opportunity, make sure you're using that hashtag Seahawks to get your questions answered in the chat. Robert, that's not a question, but I would agree with you. I would really like to pound the rock. I'd really like to pound the rock in this game. Make sure that Seattle and the Seahawks, they can keep marching forward, keep grinding, making sure that they are in first place. Make sure that they go 1-0 on Sunday. 44 concurrent viewers right now in the chat. 20 likes. Let's make sure we get those thumbs buttons up. That way we can continue to do more and more of these live shows. This is the very first one. Want to make sure that the bosses, the big suits at home, see the video, see the show, and they go, hey, you know what? Maybe we let Will and Reed do a second show each week. That'd be pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. They're having a conversation right now. Old Greasy, is that your name? Old Greasy is talking about Scoot Henderson, and I think you're looking for the Blazers report by Chat Sports. We're still working on that one. Chris, I think you can get more for Reek Woolen than a bag of chips. That's just me. I don't know. Producer Reed, bag of chips, is that all he's worth? You think maybe
Reek Woolen?
A little bit less? Yeah.
I think you could probably get maybe a drink too.
You think he's worth a Diet Coke, or
Like
is he
like
worth a full Coke?
I think he's worth like maybe a can of Pringles and a Gatorade.
I would like to think that he is worth more than a bag of chips, can of Pringles, and some Gatorade.
How about bag of chips and
2 bags of
a
chips.
6th-round pick?
I would take that. See, what a lot of people that's a chips and a burger. Jalen Milroe Lover says he's going to throw in a burger as well. I noticed that you changed your name there, JML. I noticed you changed your name there. I love the old stories from like way back in the day when like baseball was first invented. They're like, hey, guess what? We traded away Satchel Paige for a bus ticket so that way we could get our third pitcher all the way out to the game.
I was gonna say something. It's a great movie.
Yes.
Moneyball.
Yes.
Where
yes.
you gotta pay for the vending machine.
You gotta pay for our vending machine as well.
Or the semi-pro with Will Ferrell.
Dude,
what was it like? Needed a dishwasher or a laundry,
something like that. That's fantastic.
Washing machine. Dude, and concessions.
Movie. Great movie. That's fantastic. Julian says we should trade him for 2 chocolate chip cookies. What kind? What would be the best chocolate chip? What type of chocolate chip cookie are you willing to trade Reek Woolen for? Tell you what, might be Grandma's own. 44 concurrent viewers, 22 likes. Make sure you get your likes in. We're going to get ready here for our first segment. We're going to be talking about some good news and some bad news on today's show. Make sure that you are using the comment section to keep driving conversation. I'll make sure that I get back into it with you guys once I get through this first segment. Make sure, remember, end of the show, we're doing the mail sack. So the only way for you to get your questions into the mail sack is to either use the hashtag Seahawks, or what you could do, if you want to skip the line, use that Read Producer Fast Pass. You can just send on in a super chat. We'll make sure that you jump all the way to the front of the line there. Remember, hashtag Seahawks for your question, or if you want to be number 1 in the line, you can use that super chat.
We got 45 people here. 25 likes. Let's get to 30, and then we'll start the show.
I'm down for that. Let's get to 30.
Let's get to 30 likes.
Producer
I know
Reed.
five of you guys haven't liked the video. It's like when you go into your house, you go into somebody else's house, and you take your shoes off.
Take your shoes off.
You take your shoes off, and you walk in.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. We got 50 now. 50 Seahawk fans hanging out, having a good time.
Split it, though, so that's pretty good. But 5 more likes, and we'll start the show.
5 more. Now it's only 4. Look at that. The 12s are already answering the call. OTTJ, it's a big game for Sammy D. Ooh, yes. Yes, it is. I'll tell you what, Josh Jobe is an absolute animal right now. Flying around, making great plays. Excited to get going. 2 more likes away from being able to start the show. You'll get to see our good news and bad news on the injury front. We got some real fears going on. Look at that! We got all the way to 33 likes. Thank you guys so much. Mal, I see you already leading the way with 1 question. Can't wait to answer that in our mailbag. We'll make sure that we get that up on there. JSAC, thanks for being a Will fan. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yes, sir. Without a further ado, let's get into today's first show. Welcome into Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we've got some good injury news. And unfortunately, we've got some bad injury news. Now, the joys of how I like to handle the show is I'm always going to be a pro-go show. So we're always going to look at the positives first. But you're going to want to make sure that you don't miss out on any Seahawks news. Some of this news actually broke early this morning. Guess what? We got short content out for you. So if you want to be up to date on the latest Seahawks news and you don't want to miss any of the conversation that we are going to have on the show, and you want to hear first so you can tell your other Seattle Seahawks fans what's going on, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be breaking the news as fast as possible. Now, I'm always going to look at life glass half full. Hey, you rolled your ankle? The other ankle's still okay. Hey, you hurt your back? Well, at least your legs are still working. Hey, you didn't get what you wanted in that job? Yeah, you still got another job. At least you're not unemployed. So we're going to jump into the good news to start the show first. Good news here with the injury report is it looks like you're going to get not one, but two of your favorite Seattle Seahawks back after both of them missed week 1. Now, we're going to dive in first to Uchenna Nwosu. And I already told you, the brother is back. I love having Uchenna Nwosu out on the outside. He was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. It looks like he's on track to play. He missed, obviously, all of training camp and the first week dealing with a knee injury that he had surgery on in the offseason. Now, when you look at the last couple of years for Nwosu, when he has been healthy, he is a true game wrecker. When he hasn't been healthy, it's where you've seen some of those numbers kind of fall off. It's not like he's one of those players where, hey, he was healthy the entire time, but he wasn't doing anything. When Nwosu's out on the field, he will fly around and he'll make big-time plays. Now, the question still is, though, is Uchenna Nwosu going to be healthy enough to go out and play? Just because he was a full participant in practice doesn't mean that Mike Macdonald is ready to put him on the field. I mean, it was not even 5 days ago that the only thing we saw him doing was marching with the sled on his back. No pads, no nothing. So you got to hope that he continues to progress and he doesn't have a setback so that he can go on Sunday. But in my eyes, I would expect a very big performance from him if he's able to go against the Steelers because the Seahawks are going to use him sparingly. Now, that doesn't usually mean, hey, sparingly being used, big-time performance. But with Nwosu, you can use him in situations where he is going to attack the passer. I don't know if you know this. Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback over at Pittsburgh, he's old. Some might say ancient when it comes to NFL football years. If you're a 40-year-old quarterback in the NFL, it's like an 80-year-old real human being. If you can use Nwosu on 3rd and longs, 2nd and longs, now you're adding in an extra pass rush threat that you didn't have on an edge front that looked absolutely fantastic when you were playing against the 49ers. I loved everything that these edges did against San Fran on Sunday at home. Now you're telling me I'm going to get Uchenna Nwosu back? Watch the heck out. We're going to jump into what was going on with Jake Bobo, but first we got to talk about today's sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. I just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you can cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. I was playing Prize Picks this weekend. Unfortunately, should have been using the flex pay option. So, I cooked up a little lineup on Prize Picks for this weekend's game against the Steelers. Cooper Kupp, I think he's getting more than 37.5 yards. I loved how the Seahawks defense played. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to punt more than 3.5 times. And Jackson Smith-Njigba did everything but get in the end zone. I think he's getting in the end zone more. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, America's second sweetheart right behind Robbie Oots, Jake Bobo. We all love him here in Seattle, and he was a big miss going into week 1 against the 49ers. Obviously, he was dealing with a concussion, a scary one at that he suffered when he was returning punts in preseason game number 3 against the Green Bay Packers. He was a full participant so far this week in practice. That is absolutely massive. What Jake Bobo lacks in speed, he definitely makes up for in size and catching ability. He had 2 catches in the preseason. Guess what? They were both touchdowns. I understand that he's not going to be the blazing deep threat that Seattle kind of frankly needed against the 49ers, but what he does give you is another big play threat when it comes into the red zone. He's bigger and stronger than most of the corners that you are going to go against at that wide receiver position. Now you're telling me that I get him back and I can also use him in the run game. The run game was atrocious this last week. What can you do as a wide receiver to help that run game out? Well, first of all, you can catch a lot of passes. But the other thing that you can do is add into the game as a run blocker. Getting Jake Bobo back this week will be massive. They haven't completely cleared him, but in my eyes, when you are a full participant in practice, especially going through the concussion protocol, I like the signs pointing to you playing on Sundays. Now, unfortunately, I can't avoid it any longer. I have to look at the bad news. I can't put my head in the sand anymore, and I have to dive into maybe the scariest injury update news that I think I've seen in the past week for the Seattle Seahawks. And that's Devon Witherspoon not practicing at all, dealing with a knee injury. And then Julian Love, probably your best defensive player against the 49ers. Well, he was a limited participant dealing with a groin injury. Let's dive into the scary times first. Devon Witherspoon missed the entire practice, and he's dealing with a knee injury. Whenever I hear knee and I hear a player in the secondary, my heart instantly stops because it's not like an offensive lineman where, hey, your knee's banged up. Well, guess what? You put a brace on it and you go out there and you figure it out. You need to be able to run. You need to be able to move around. Devon Witherspoon having a knee issue so bad that it kept him out of practice, I worry. He's not old enough yet for us to push the panic button and say, hey, he's had knee injuries in the past. We need to freak out. It's worry time. He's not going to play. But I definitely have the panic button out, and I'm kind of like, looking at it, giving it a kind of a look over. Hey, we're not there yet, but maybe, possibly. He's not at a point in his career like TJ Watt for the Steelers, for example, where he just sat out of Wednesday's practice because he needed a veteran day. Devon Witherspoon, he's only been in the league 3 years. He shouldn't need a veteran day. Now here's where my other fear comes in. When you have Devon Witherspoon out, you have to remember that more than likely means that Riq Woolen is coming in. Because right now, the way that Mike Macdonald has been talking about Riq Woolen, it sounds to me like Josh Jobe has earned that right cornerback spot. That left cornerback spot is going to go to Devon Witherspoon. And originally, the plan was for that big nickel spot to be Nicky Manwari. Well, if Nicky Manwari is out, like I'm already kind of projecting, and Devon Witherspoon's out, I don't know who you turn to. Are you going to trust Nehemiah Pritchett? Are you going to trust Kendricks out there? I don't know if we're there yet. That means you have to trust Riq Woolen. Didn't go well. I've got my fingers crossed. Hopefully I'm overreacting. Every once in a while I can be hyperbolic. Every once in a while I can go too far. Hopefully it's just one of those things. Hey, his knee was banged up. We're going to have him sit out of Wednesday. Thursday he'll be a limited participant. By Friday he's good, ready to go. That is for Devon Witherspoon. But right now, I'll tell you what, I don't feel good when I put my head on the pillow and go to sleep, especially if Devon Witherspoon's not able to go against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now this one, honestly, it's a gigantic kick to the groin. When it rains, it pours. It doesn't get better for the Seahawks because your best defensive player on Sunday, in my eyes, was Julian Love. He was flying around the field, had a bunch of tackles, had a tackle for loss. He had your one sack in the game, which was very impressive. And now he's out, or at least a limited participant in practice with a groin injury. That's scary times for me. When you look at how he played in this game, he was everywhere. It felt like every other play that I was talking about the Seahawks and who was making a tackle, who was coming in, making a big play stop, it was Julian Love. He's excelled since he's come over and started playing for Mike Macdonald in this defense where you allowed the safety to kind of roam free. He can play the run. He can also play the pass. It's whatever he sees. Now, when you look at the safety position, more fear really comes in because the true backup to Julian Love would again be Nicky Manwari. He would just jump in. Nicky Manwari's got a high ankle sprain. We're not going to see him. That means you're going to see Ty Okada. Guess who got burnt multiple times? Guess who was out at safety against George Kittle? George Kittle looked at him in the red zone and said, hey, Brock, I'm open. Give me the ball. I'm going to get in the end zone. And that's exactly what happened. So now what we're saying is you're probably going to have to go with Ty Okada if Julian Love isn't able to go, or if Julian Love is going to need more substitutions and needs more time off. I loved how Okada played in the preseason, but guess what? That was against 2s and 3s. He's a very strong 2. He's a great special teams player. But he's not a guy that you're going to want to play in a must-win game. And in my eyes, this game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it is a must-win. You're already down one player in the secondary. one key impactful player in the secondary. You can't lose another player there. I don't know what you got to do to get Devon Witherspoon and to get Julian Love back and 100% healthy, but I'll tell you right now, I'm worried about it. I'm a little bit freaked out. By the way, if they're going to sign anyone, I would assume they'd bring D'Anthony Bell up from the practice squad to fill out that role in that safety spot. He was fine in the preseason. There's a reason why he's on your practice squad. Look, I'd say right now I'm probably at a 7.5, 8 out of 12 when it comes to my panic meter. Maybe I'm getting a little bit closer to that 9 mark, 10 mark. I'm not quite there yet, but I want to know what you guys say. Let me know in the comments section what your nervous level is. Are you at a 1, not nervous at all for this game against the Steelers? Or are you at a 12, it's full-blown panic time? Let me know, and we'll talk next time. All right. I see you right now, Johnny Bobo. Is that your cousin? Are you related to Jake Bobo, or are you just a fan? You're just a big-time lover. OTDJ. If Devon is not able to go and with Reek having a down week, do you expect to step up as a DB besides Josh Jobe? Who do you expect? I should be able to read English better. I am a former teacher. I know. We're going to have to wait on that one. He did put that in there. You want me to... Producer Reed wants me to give a preview answer. I'll think about it. Maybe it isn't a secondary player that needs to step up. Maybe there's a different position group that, frankly, in my eyes, played pretty darn well, where there's a couple of those guys that could take a gigantic step up. That would be fantastic. Johnny Bobo, I see your international question. Make sure we'll answer that later on. Make sure, remember, if you want to get your questions in for the mailbag, there are 69 current viewers. Nice. On this.
Nobody leave.
Live. They are a couple left. That's okay. We'll get back. No one leave. No one come in. We stay right at that number. If you want to have a question answered, make sure you use the hashtag Seahawks, or you can skip the line and give a super chat. See, Kelly, how's it going? Is that Chad Kelly? I would love for nothing more than for Chad Kelly to be in the Seahawks Today chat. That's a legendary Ole Miss Darty jersey. Were you a big jersey guy, Producer Reed? What you got on right now? You've got some exciting whites on there.
I do. I mean, it's not a. I won't say it's, a secret.
Yeah, you're a Philly guy. You like the other birds.
I'm an Eagles fan.
You like the other birds. That's okay.
The other birds.
I forgive you.
There are a ton of birds in the NFL.
There are a lot of birds. It's very rare that there aren't a lot of birds flying around, doing their thing. I'm excited for the Seahawks, though. I understand that there's a lot of people nervous, a lot of people scared right now, a lot of people worried, especially with the injury issues that we've been having. I think it'll be okay. When we get into the next segment, we're going to wait a sec. We're going to give some people some time, give myself some time, get in some questions, take a deep breath. I think we're going to have a fun conversation about a couple of players that if they take the right steps forward, Seattle's going to be on the right side. Because, frankly, I don't know if it's a must-win or a can't lose. I've been kind of going back and forth on this for this game. But in my eyes, if you're 0-2, then you're taking on Tampa, then you're taking on the Cardinals on a Thursday night game. That's a tough lead into your schedule, especially for a team that I frankly think should be a playoff team. I know a lot of other people might agree, might disagree. This is a team that should be in the playoffs. So if you are a team that should be in the playoffs, how do you get there? Take care of business. Make sure you use that hashtag Seahawks to get your questions in. Julian already made sure that he sent in one question. Can't wait to answer that in our third segment on today's show, getting into the mailbag. That's right. So we just got into our first segment. We knocked through the Seahawks injuries, gave you the latest news and information on your Hawks who are hurt, beat up, or the ones who are getting back to 100% healthy. We're going to dive into the 5 Hawks to watch here in a second. And then after, we're going to use the mailbag. Use hashtag Seahawks. Or again, if you say, hey, I need a fast pass, I have to have my question answered first. I can't let Julian's question be the first question answered. I have to win. Well, the best way for you to do that, send in a super chat. We'll jump you right to the front of the line. Julian is firing off the questions right now. OTJ is. OTDJ. Easy for me to say. OTDJ. OT. Ty Man the Buckeye is in here. What's up, dude? Ty Man the Buckeye. Does he? Yeah, he's all the way. I think he jumped in. He jumped in right when I started the injury updates. That's right, old Greasy. Good old Portland boy. You're darn right. What's up, Pika? How are you? Yeah, we're going to have to get into that one, brother. We're going to have to get into that one. Going to have to make sure that we answer that question. That's going to be the third segment. So make sure that you're sticking around, having a good time. We're having fun here, enjoying the day, enjoying a Thursday. It's our Friday here at Chat Sports. But guess what? Here's the beauty of Seahawks Today. Even though I have tomorrow off, and guess what? One of my boys coming into town, still going to make sure that we get out video content for you on your Seattle Seahawks. I am going to make sure that every single day you can see some sort of Seahawks content. I already went through about how I'm a positive person and I'm glass half full type of guy. I want to see right now in the chat. Head on in there and type one positive that you saw from this Seahawks game. Producer Reed wasn't able to watch this Seahawks game unless you did. I don't think so. He shook his head. No, I did though. Here's a positive that I saw from your Seattle Seahawks. Your offensive line, aside from the very, very last play, I thought played pretty darn well. Now, there was some movement and some different things that were taken and changed from that defense, but I don't think it was the offensive line's fault of why that offense struggled to run the football, move the ball through the air. Frankly, I thought it was more of a pass calling or play calling issue. I thought there was an issue at times at the running back position of finding the hole. Aside from Abe Lucas getting bull rushed by Nick Bosa, which it does suck that it happened in a crucial moment, there's been a lot of people that have lost in bull rushes to Nick Bosa. There's a reason why he's as famous and as popular as he is. He's an all-pro, for goodness sake. Sometimes those things happen. So in my eyes, I felt like the offensive line played well. And you know what? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take producer Reed's positive takeaway. Your D-line played absolutely fantastic.
That actually wasn't mine. Mine was going to be, since we did a couple videos, mine is JSN looked good.
He looked fantastic.
Yeah.
He's your only skill player in my eyes that looked great. I'd say Charbonnet looked fine. I didn't think that Charbonnet looked bad. I thought Sam Darnold was fine. Sam Darnold, again, his issues weren't Sam Darnold's fault. I felt like he was pretty accurate with the football. He was consistent. He knew where to throw. He knew to make sure, hey, take what the defense gives you. The problem was the defense gave them a lot of nothing because they played absolutely fantastic with Robert Saleh being back. OTDJ, Seahawks D-line was fire. I agree. Johnny Bobo, yeah, JSN was, it's literally his one blemish. He has one blemish on that game, and that's unfortunate. One fumble when you're driving, you're already in field goal range. Worst case scenario, you kick another field goal there. Well, then shoot, you could have just ran the clock out, taken a couple knees, kicked a field goal, and you win that game 19-17. I know, it sucks. And he's the first one to say it. He's the first one to say it. Good afternoon, James. Good afternoon, James. So if you have one positive that you want to make sure that you get off here in the chat, you can type those down below. We'll discuss them right before we get into the mailbag. But right now, I have 5 Hawks for you to watch on Sunday. And if all 5 of these players do what needs to be done and play the way that I know that they can, we're going to have a victory Monday for your Seahawks. Yes, sir. Producer Reed running the show. Appreciate you. Thank you, Juan. Defense, defense, defense. It was always a positive. All right, Producer Reed, let's do it. Sunday is a can't-lose game for your Seattle Seahawks. They have to make sure that everything is firing on all cylinders. Because if they go down 0-2 on this year, in this season, I don't know that they're going to reach the heights that they need to reach. I'll pick 5 players that are going to help the Seahawks make sure that they go 1-0 on Sunday. Vibes check. Look, I know a lot of you are nervous. I know a lot of you are scared right now. How do we feel about our Seattle Seahawks? We got to make sure that they keep pushing forward. What's up, Producer Reed?
Behind the scenes for the people who are live. Need a bigger pause.
I see. No worries.
Here we go. Behind the scenes, see how the sausage is made. Restart,
and that's okay. First one. They say you never forget. I will never forget. Sunday is a can't-lose game for the Seahawks. In my eyes, if this team goes down 0-2 on the year, I don't know how you make the playoffs. I can't remember the exact stat off the top of my head right now, but it's less than 50% of teams that go down 0-2 make it to the postseason in the NFL. I'm going to pick 5 Seahawks to watch to make sure that the Seahawks go 1-0 on Sunday. Now we need a vibes check. How are we feeling about our Seattle Seahawks? Right now, scale 1 to 12, some of the injury report news. I think I'm right around that 7.5, 8 mark. Maybe I'm getting close to 8.5, 9. Let me know what you think. Go down in the comments and give it your own ranking. Now, my first player that we're going to have to watch, it's Cooper freaking Kupp. Yakima's finest, AC Davis's finest, a player that I actually got to go see back when he was still kicking it on the Inferno over at Eastern Washington. And unfortunately, he was your big skill player free agent signing, and he was nowhere to be found when it came to week 1. It felt like every time there was a key third down, I would sit up here and say, hey, Producer Colin, when is Cooper Kupp going to get a big catch and get that first down like he did so many times against the Seahawks when he was with the Rams, and it just didn't come. He only had 3 targets in this game. Now, he made the most of 2, but the most important one that was on a key and crucial third down, he didn't come up with it. He cannot be a no-show when it comes to this Sunday in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. You have to have another weapon in that wide receiver room other than just Jackson Smith and Jigba. And when I look at how Cooper Kupp performed, I think he's going to be the very first person to tell you that last week not only wasn't good enough, that he can be momentously better. He can be 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of what he was. Because coming down with only 2 catches, frankly, it's just never going to be enough. Now, my other player of the 5, my second one that needs to step up, ironically enough, is also on the offensive side of the football, and that's Kenneth Walker III. When you go through the game that he had, I don't know how Seattle can even have a contemplation of him being running back 1. Why are we continuing to do this? Kenneth Walker, since his injury, and frankly, since last year, has not performed at a rate of being a running back 1. Not a feature back, not even the main back in a duo system. When I look at Kenneth Walker and his performances last season before he got hurt, and then this season so far, his joint practice time, it isn't good enough, and Zach Charbonnet should be the guy getting the bulk of the touches. Look at this stat line. It's atrocious. And if I was being really mean, I'd throw in Kenneth Walker's receiving stat line, and then you'd figure out that, Kenneth Walker averaged less than 2 yards a touch. Less than 2 yards a touch. I understand, man, you're going against the vaunted San Francisco 49ers defense. Robert Saleh's back with a vengeance. He wants to make sure that he proves to everyone in the NFL that not only is he a good coach, but that the game hasn't passed him by. But in my eyes, this is absolutely horrific play. Zach Charbonnet got 47 yards in that game. I understand it. That's not a great stat line. 47 rushing yards is not good enough to win most football games. But when you play a defense like Robert Saleh had, when you completely abandon the game plan that you had going into this entire season, in my eyes, which was run the football effectively, dive into play action pass, 47 yards, that isn't half bad, especially when the 49ers just started bringing all those blitzes because they knew the only guy that could beat him on the outside was Jackson Smith and Jigba. I am over the Kenneth Walker experiment, but he's got one shot. While I might be done with it, Apparently, Coach Mike McDonald and Coach Clint Kubiak do not agree with me. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think that the starting running back should be Zach Charbonnet? That he should be getting 20 carries to Kenneth Walker's 5 to 10? Or do you think it should be Kenneth Walker? If you think it should be Zach Charbonnet, type 26 in the chat. If you think it should be Kenneth Walker, make sure that you slam that 9 button in the chat as well. Now, this is where my watch list gets a little funky. In the past, when I've done a watch list, it's been, hey, this guy has to step up. I've done my Stephen A. impersonation where he has to be better. Well, unfortunately, I don't know that DeMarcus Lawrence can be any better than what he was last Sunday. He was absolutely lights out, on fire, playing the game with his hair on fire, getting in the backfield, making plays, chasing poor Brock Purdy around. He's probably one of the many reasons why Brock Purdy is so bruised and beat up right now for San Francisco. But in my eyes, I need more sacks. And by that I mean, pressures is great. Getting to the quarterback, getting quarterback hurries is fine. Making them feel uncomfortable. Playing in the backfield is fantastic. I can't complain. It's an A- game from a great player. But you need to finish off with sacks because sacks are drive killers. And unfortunately, against San Francisco, you weren't able to hit home. In fact, only one player was able to hit home, and that's when you sent Julian Love out on a blitz. Now, don't get me wrong. DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm not upset with how he played. When you're in the backfield getting multiple tackles for loss, it's a pretty darn good game. But when you're going up against someone who's a statue, like Aaron Rodgers, we all saw it. If you watch that early game, Steelers versus the Jets, the guy can't move. He can still throw the ball pretty darn well. You can still see all the aspects of his game from when he was an MVP candidate and an MVP winner. If you can get DeMarcus Lawrence playing the way he did against the 49ers and getting into the backfield quickly, you're going to be able to sack Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to be a complete game factor, X factor in this game. It's going to be a game changer. It's going to help push the Seahawks into that victory mode. Because I've already said it once. This game is a can't lose. You cannot go down 0-2. If they're able to get back there with DeMarcus Lawrence and my next watch list member, Seattle's going to win this game. Leonard Williams. If Julian Love was the best defensive player in this game, Leonard Williams was the second. One, he's versatile, so you can use him in multiple different positions on that defensive line. They use him at the D-end spot. They use him at the D-tackle spot. There are even spots where I've seen him line up at nose guard. In fact, his pick 6 against Aaron Rodgers last year in the Meadowlands, he was at nose guard. Leonard Williams was an absolute beast. It's clear to me that he took offense to not being an All-Pro. He's going to make sure that he gets that done this season. It feels like whenever Mike McDonald gets to a new team, there is a defensive lineman that takes 2 or 3 gigantic steps forward. It's clear that that's Leonard Williams in this system. He has to continue to be hot. But here's my reason for it. It's not that this team isn't going to be able to play at a high enough rate. It's that you have too many injuries in the secondary. Right now, best case scenario, you're without Nick Eamon-Ward. Best case scenario, you're down your starting big nickel. There's a chance that you're down a safety in Julian Love. There's a chance you're down Devon Witherspoon too. Those tackle numbers have to go up. You can't just have 3 solo tackles. I'm sorry, it's not a fair ask by me. But if this defensive front can take over this game, well, then the corners don't have to cover for 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. And that should make life easier for them in the long run. When you look at Aaron Rodgers, he isn't able to move the way that he used to. No 41-year-old can that's coming off an Achilles tear. So dial up the pressure. Dial up the blitzes. Let Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence cook. Let them get after Aaron Rodgers to make life easier on Josh Jobe. If Devon Witherspoon plays, Julian Love plays, make their lives easier because we already know that they're beat up and banged up. If Reek Woolen has to go back out there, fingers crossed he doesn't, you need to make life easier on him because he showed in the last game that when it's a crucial moment and you give a quarterback just enough time, he might end up making a big-time mistake. Those two played great last Sunday. I need them to play even better, and I think that they can. My last player that has to step up, it's the rookie. It's the guy I stood on the table for. It's the guy that I said you should cut MVS for, and that's Torrey Horton. Dude, I didn't hear who from you. Where were you? Torrey Horton was nowhere to be found in this game. He was absolutely clamped, locked down, and in that wide receiver 3 position, he's supposed to be your deep threat. You cannot have your deep threat be completely lost in the shuffle. You cannot have your deep threat not have an opportunity to catch a deep ball, but it wasn't Sam Darnold's fault that he didn't have an opportunity to catch a deep ball. He didn't do anything with it. Take Jackson Smith and Jigba out of this wide receiver depth chart. Cooper Kupp has to step up. Torrey Horton has to step up. The only reason Jake Bobo doesn't have to step up is because, well, he was hurt. But he needs to make sure that he has a good first game. Torrey Horton, be that deep play threat. Burn someone on the Steelers because it opens everything else up. It stops the Steelers from being able to stack the box. It also allows your short passing game to be more open because a safety has to cover you over the top. It's no longer one-on-one coverage. It's two-on-one coverage, and that makes life easier for everybody else. Now, you want the Seattle Seahawks to win this game. The only way to do that is to support the show. Like the video so the Seahawks can go 1-0. Woo! Boy. Thank you, Julian. Thank you for the great 5. I appreciate it. Here, Air 5. Gave it to you. There's my social media. I'm on Twitter and on Instagram. I don't know how I did this. I kind of dumbed into it. It's just at Will Ortner. It's all lowercase. Make sure you head over and follow me. I am making, original? It is, yeah, super original. Well, again, bad memory. Got to make it my name or else I'd forget it. But I'm constantly tweeting out and posting about your Seattle Seahawks. You don't want to miss any of that content, especially when it's breaking news. I get it out there first before I'm able to get it out here on Seahawks Today, right? So like the Devon Witherspoon news, when it came out that he was going to miss, that came out on my Instagram and my Twitter before I was able to get it here on Seahawks Today. So make sure you head on over there and follow me if you get the opportunity.
Who is Julian? I know you're pretty active down there. Who are you looking for in this week? Like Will gave 5. Like Julian, who are you looking for? Who are you looking out for against the Steelers?
If you want to jump in, I'd love for you to jump in as well. Julian and other. Ooh, look at that. We got 2 new followers. Dylan.
Hey.
Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate it. Juju. Shout out to you. I appreciate it. Instagram followers. Love that. Producer Reed had a great idea. That's why he's the best in the business here at Chat Sports. If you have a player that you think needs to step up, make sure you put that here in the comments. Right now, I'm having a great time going through, seeing what everyone's saying. Hey, Brendan, how you doing? I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love. Trying to continue to grow this thing. Make sure this is, it's not our last call, but for those of you who just joined, we are about to do our last and final mailbag segment. And in the mailbag, we're answering all of your questions. Whatever you need to get off your chest, whatever you got on your mind, and you say, hey, I need an answer to, we're going to make sure that we answer it. Now, you can get your question in by using the hashtag Seahawks. Producer Reed could look over at me and say, hey, I need a question. Will, why didn't the Seahawks run the ball more effectively? Hashtag Seahawks. Or you can look at your question and say, this is pressing. This has to be answered fast. And the only way to answer this fast is to send in the super chat because you're going to cut the line. Right now, it's a first come, first serve basis. If you are saying, hey, my question's the best, it has to be number 1. It has to get up there fast. You send in a super chat of any dollar donation. We love that. We appreciate that. And then we'll make sure that we get you up as the first question that gets asked on today's show, or the second, or the third. If you're worried, hey, my question might not get answered, there's a lot of 12s in the chat firing off questions. We can make sure we get you jumped up there. OTDJ, K9 and Sammy D need to step up their focal pieces to this offense. I agree. Specifically with K9, I did say that. I thought Darnold looked fine in this game, but I'll tell you right now, I feel like there's more in the tank for Sam Darnold. He looked fine. Didn't take any risks. He did have a turnover, but I wouldn't blame that on him. In my eyes, that's 100% on Abe Lucas. Dude, sit your butt down, hop, beat that bull rush of Nick Bosa, and then Sam Darnold doesn't fumble. But you do need to have better pocket awareness there. Brendan, D-Lie expected more. Are we expecting to see him step up, make a few big plays against the Steelers in week 2? I thought that DeMarcus Lawrence actually had a pretty darn good game. When you go and look at his stat line, he had 6 tackles, he had 2 in the backfield. He just didn't finish any sacks. That's my biggest issue with him, I guess I would say, which is more so of a nitpicky thing. If he can finish in the backfield and get sacks on the quarterback, especially against Aaron Rodgers, a guy who's not going to be able to move around real well, I really like the Seahawks' chances. You have to have a pass rush in this game. You didn't really have a pass rush against the 49ers, or at least you didn't have a pass rush that finished, right? You got in Brock Purdy's way, you beat him up, you roughed him up, but he got a lot of those throws off. Well, right now you're going to be down at least one secondary player, possibly 2 or 3. You got to get back in the backfield and tackle him. Julian Reek is the one man I want to believe in, but signs are pointing to the negative. We need our D-line to step up this game, like Will said, to help out our cornerbacks for a few seconds. Reek Woolen might be the most frustrating player that I have seen in Seattle in the last 10 years. Because early on in that game on Sunday, he had a play. He is completely beat. The 49er player, I can't remember who it was, is open on the goal line in the end zone all by himself. And instead of just giving up on the play, Reek Woolen flies down, uses that 4.2 speed, gets his hand out just barely, and knocks the ball away. Incredible play that probably only he can make. Then he has the 2 plays on the final drive. What are you doing? Where did that come from? Why? How do you take that step forward? He's so frustrating. Drives me up the wall. Johnny Bobo, appreciate your question. We'll make sure that we get it in the list. Chris knows ball. Byron does make it known by opening up opportunities. Yes. Yep. There was a video that we put out on this channel earlier this week about a potential trade that Seattle could make. And a lot of people, when they heard me talk about trading for Mozzie Smith of the Dallas Cowboys, they said, Will, why would you trade for Mozzie Smith? You already have Byron Murphy, you have Jaron Reed, you have Leonard Williams. They're all fantastic players, and they were going out and dominating. Well, the reason that you trade for a player like Mozzie Smith is because he gives you extra depth. And he's kind of a free roll ticket in my eyes. If he doesn't work out, whatever. You gave up like a 7th-round pick for him. That's kind of what he's worth. Cool, who cares? But if he turns out to be the star that everyone thought he was when he was a first-round pick, now you've got 4 guys that you can rotate in 3 positions. Everyone's 100% healthy. Everyone's 100% focused, flying around, making plays. That's freaking scary. That would be freaking scary. Producer Reed, you got anything that you want to talk to the people about your Seattle Seahawks? Looking forward to this Sunday game? No, you're all good? Well, I do want to make sure that I get this plug out. We're going to give you, let's say, you want to go 2 minutes for the mailbag? Final call, 2 minutes? 2 minutes to get your questions in? 2 minutes? Okay. I'm going to give you, Producer Reed wants to get out of here. I think the Eagles are playing soon. Now he's offended. Look at Producer Reed. That's okay. No, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes. Producer Reed is excited because he hasn't seen 22 Jump Street. He's going home to watch it. It's all I've heard about all day. It's like, dude, that movie came out in 2019.
But it's a great movie.
It's a great movie that you should have watched in 2019.
Oh, I watched it in 2019, and I'll watch it in 2025. Maybe I'll watch it in 2027. Who knows?
Fair enough. Yeah, you
okay.
guys have done a great job getting your questions in. Remember, last call. You got 1:30 now. If you want to be featured on the show, you can use the hashtag Seahawks, or you can send in a super chat, and that'll jump you to the front of the line. I do want to make sure that we get this plugged, though. Every single Sunday or Thursday if the Seahawks are playing, or Monday if the Seahawks are playing, we are going to have a watch party, and this Sunday is no freaking different. We are going to be live an hour before the Steelers game. Now, over here in Dallas, games start at noon. That means I'll be live at 11. If you're in the Pacific time zone, so Washington, Oregon, California, others, that is going to be live at 9. If you're in the Mountain Time Zone, that's 10. East Coast, that's noon. You don't want to miss it. It is the best spot to be if you cannot be at a Seahawks tailgate. If you can't be over at Queen Anne's, hanging out, drinking a couple brews with the fellas, or the girls, whatever you want to do, you come on over here to this 12's watch party. We're hanging out. I'll have a beverage or two. It's a great time. We're going to talk about the Seahawks. We'll break down the game, give you a play-by-play of it, have a conversation, have some fun. If you want to join in on the Hall of Fame Club presented by the Kingdom here on Seahawks Today, that'd be fantastic. You can join in. Get yourself right here on the Skull and Crossbones on the Seattle Seahawks helmet. Shout out to Randall and Cody and Banana and others, Brian as well. Those are our inaugural members. We got 5 of them. You can super chat in on that. Or if you want to just hang out, have a good time, we're going to have a great time. We've already got some new fun games planned, fun little raffle, fun new end of the show. It's going to be great. You don't want to miss out. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that way you get notified when our live is going in your time zone, and you can join in, hang out with us, hang out through the whole game. Hey, Dilly, I appreciate it. I do play Madden. Not this one, though. I need to buy it. Still working on it. All right, producer Reed, are we ready? Are we hashtag ready? Hashtag ready. Ooh, who calls it pound? Every once in a while, like an old will come up to me and be like, did you hit the pound sign? I'm like, the what? The what? Pound sign? What are we talking about? Didn't know we were ancient. Your parents say pound sign?
My aunt does. My mom doesn't because she's chronically online.
Oh.
My dad might say pound, but grandparents for sure.
Grandparents for sure. Yep. Grandparents for sure still say pound sign. Everyone, I think basically once you hit about 30, maybe 34, 35 now, it's hashtag. Anything up, it's probably pound. All right. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. We're going to jump into the mail sack here in a second. We ready to go? Awesome. All right. I already plugged it once. I'm going to plug it again. You don't want to miss out on the watch party this Sunday. We are going to be live an hour before kickoff here on Seahawks Today. It is the best spot for you to come in and hang out with other 12s. We are watching the game, having a good time, just chilling, enjoying everything around your Seattle Seahawks. You don't want to miss out. It's the best place to be if you can't be at Queen Anne's in Seattle or at Pittsburgh watching your Seattle Seahawks play. Make sure you subscribe and join us on Sunday. Now, our first question comes from Drew Peacock. I heard he's pretty vibrant. After week 1, who would you rather have, Sam Darnold or Geno Smith? Hashtag Seahawks. Well, here's my version here, DP. If I am going to immediately after one game jump completely off the Sam Darnold bandwagon, then I'm not a true believer in this front office or in this coaching staff. In my eyes, John Schneider has done enough, at least early on in his career, where I have to at least give him the benefit of the doubt when it comes to personnel decisions. Geno Smith is a higher-priced quarterback. He's an older quarterback. And so if it doesn't work out with him, you're having to move on in the draft. You're trying to have to find someone early. Or if you're like Jalen Milroe lover, maybe you promote Jalen Milroe right up to the top. I don't know if he'll be ready for primetime right away. I think Sam Darnold was a smart move. I don't think he played that bad. Geno Smith played great against the Patriots. Patriots defense is nothing compared to the San Francisco defense. Sam Darnold, I understand that going into that last drive, he only had like 80 yards. I don't blame him completely for that. I blame more of the coaching staff, and I blame the decisions and play calling. In my eyes, he took what the defense gave him. And when you take what the defense gives you, I can't be too upset about that. Julian, hashtag Seahawks. What positives do you have with Sammy D having a good game? What will go wrong on defense if we don't have the spoon? A nice 2-part question. So let's start with Sam Darnold. I think that he was smart with the football and was decisive. He got the ball out of his hands quickly. Now, his issue is something that he can't always control. Don't get me wrong. The fumble at the end of the game, you need to have better pocket awareness. You need to understand that there is a defensive lineman that is driving your offensive lineman back into your lap, and you need to get the ball out quicker or tuck it and move around. Be a game manager. Be a player that can help lead this team to the promised land by not making the mistakes. Sam Darnold was great at that in Minnesota. Be that person here in Seattle. The positives that I take away from him is that it's only going to get better. When you play week one in a new system, in a new environment, for a new team, sometimes, and when live bullets start flying, you get a little nervous. Stuff isn't as easy in the preseason or during the joint practices. And that's why they always say you make your biggest gains week 1 to week 2. I think Sam Darnold can continue to grow on the mistakes that he made, but also grow on the good things that he did as well. When it goes to the defense, the issue with not having Spoon is that you already don't have Nick Eamon-Warry. Don't get me wrong. Missing out on Devon Witherspoon is painful, and it's not going to feel good for this team, whether you had Nick Eamon-Warry or not. And don't get me wrong, there's still a chance that he could come out and play. But for me, when it comes to this defense and that nickel spot, it is going to revolve around Spoon and Eamon-Warry. If you don't have both of them, that means you're playing Reek Woolen and then you're playing Ty Okada. Or you're going to D'Anthony Bell, who's on your practice squad right now. Or you're reaching out to some other teams and you're making some phone calls really quick. That is absolutely scary in my eyes. Against the Steelers, you're reaching into that practice squad for Bell and you're looking at Okada, a guy that, frankly, kind of got cooked in this last game. I'm worried about that. Losing Spoon is bad. Losing a combination of Eamon-Warry and Spoon, that's the world falling apart. Fingers crossed that Spoon's going to be ready to go. OTDJ, easy for me to say. How confident are you in the Seahawks D-line to get the job done against AR-12 and the Steelers' offensive line? In my eyes, your defensive line, and I'm going to throw in Ernest Jones and Julian Love, were the biggest bright spots in that game. I can't remember a series where you didn't have Brock Purdy scrambling for his life in this game because Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, or Jaron Reed were not chasing him down. And that's not even getting into the edge rushers like Boye Mafe and DeMarcus Lawrence. Boye Mafe, I originally came out of that game a little bit disappointed in him. In my eyes, I was like, wow, he didn't really make a ton of plays. And then you go and you look at the all 22. The guy is flying around. He's in the backfield the entire time. He just wasn't able to finish. So he got a lot of hurries. He got a lot of quarterback pressures. If he can continue that strong play, and I'm going to get Uchenna Nwosu back, you better freaking watch out, man. You better freaking watch out. This team is scary. And that defensive line going up against the statue that is Aaron Rodgers, I think I might be faster than him right now. I know producer Reed's faster than him, especially on his scooter. I think this defense might be able to feast. We're going to get into more of your questions because, frankly, I've been impressed with everything that you've thrown our way, but I got to talk about today's sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. I was playing Prize Picks this weekend. Trust me, should have used the flex play option. I've got a 3-pick power play for Prize Picks this Sunday, Seahawks against the Steelers. Cooper Kupp, I think it's a revenge game. He's getting more than 37.5 yards receiving. I think that this defense in Seattle, even without potentially Spoon, probably without Nick Eamon-Warry, they're going to get in the backfield, get a lot of stops. Steelers are going to punt at least 4 times. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, he did everything but get into the end zone. He's going to get in the end zone more. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Eileen, you fall. Where do you fall? For me? Ooh, nice. Rick Woolen was horrible. Will he be benched? Hashtag Seahawks. Mike McDonald has been very coy on if he's going to bench Rick Woolen. Look, Rick Woolen has this natural ability to be awesome 90% of the time, 85% of the time. But when there's key and crucial moments, for whatever reason, he just seems to fall apart. And you saw that on Sunday against the 49ers. Here's the problem with the cornerback room right now. That guy at that nickelback position, Devon Witherspoon, he missed practice. Is he going to be able to go on Sunday? If he's not, Rick Woolen, in my eyes, has to play. Unless you're going to completely bench him and go with Nehemiah Pritchett or go with Kendrick. Those are options, right? But we haven't really seen them other than Pritchett in the preseason because Kendrick was someone that you signed after he got cut from the team he was with in training camp. The other issue is, even if Devon Witherspoon does play in this game, he's your nickel back. So when you go to nickel, because Nick Eamon-Warrior is going to be out, more than likely, I have to keep saying that, that means your number one nickel is Devon Witherspoon. And in this defense, you need that nickel. You need to be able to use it because Mike McDonald likes to use them in different blitz packages and elaborate blitz schemes in the pass game as well as in the run game. You need him. So, unfortunately, even if he is benched, you probably still see Rick Woolen. And I guess it's unfair of me to say unfortunately because hopefully it's just he made two mistakes and he's finally learned. Hopefully it took him a little bit, but now he's finally learned from his mistakes and he'll go back to being rookie season Rick Woolen. Robert Hale, what's going on, man? Zach Sharp was ballin', deserves more carries. Hashtag you right, bro. I couldn't agree more. Zach Charbonnet I thought he looked fine in this game. There were some things that weren't his fault. There were some things that were. 47 yards isn't going to be good enough, but when you only have, I believe he had 12 carries in the game, it's pretty darn good average. He was just right under 4 yards per carry, if I remember correctly, and he was running through contact. It felt like to me when Kenneth Walker got grabbed, got held up, he just ended up falling. When Zach Charbonnet was cooking, when he was rolling, when he was grinding, you found ways to get into the end zone and you kept drives marching forward. So in my eyes, Sharp needs more carries. He needs to be your main back. He needs to be your feature back. I don't know why he wasn't beforehand. TP, what's up, brother? Seahawks. Who is going to make Metcalf's role in the big wide receiver this year? I know, I missed the hashtag, but that's okay because sometimes... Oh, producer Reed's helping me out because, well, as a former teacher, apparently I can't read. Who is going to take Metcalf's role in the big wide receiver position this year? I think in the red zone, you're going to go with Jake Bobo. In my eyes, that's the perfect spot to play him. He's 6'4", he's big, he's strong, he's physical. Unfortunately, you didn't get to use him in the last game. He was out with concussion protocol, still going through that, dealing with the concussion he got against the Packers in the preseason. That's a great spot that DK used to take as that 50-50 ball guy, that fade route guy that could just step up and go and make a play. Now, when it comes to the speed, obviously Jake Bobo doesn't have that. My eyes, the next person that would have that is Torrey Horton. Torrey Horton, honestly, was a massive letdown in that first game. He was coming off that ankle injury. Hopefully, he can continue to take strides forward, and he was just hamstrung because of how bad that ankle injury was. If Torrey Horton can take over that deep play threat, unfortunately, you're now using two pieces to kind of take over for one piece that you used to have on the offense, but it is a way to still fix that problem as the big wide receiver this year. Thank you so much for sending that in, TP. Now, in this matchup, you've got the Seahawks going to Pittsburgh against the Steelers. I hate early morning games. I don't feel like the Seahawks travel all that well. I think it's just there's a time difference. Getting up early is brutal. Steelers, having to deal with that team, I hate them. I've hated them ever since. I don't even remember that Super Bowl. I was just like young enough. I don't remember the name of that Super Bowl, I should say. I remember the Super Bowl. I remember Ben Roethlisberger being short on that 4th and 1 and somehow that call being upheld. I remember Hines Ward being found by Antoine Randall L. on that stupid pass back. I really thought that Seahawks team was going to win the Super Bowl. I've hated the Steelers ever since then. I feel like the Seahawks are going to have a good opportunity to get right against Pittsburgh. But I'll tell you what, they have to stop that quarterback back there. Aaron Rodgers, he was slinging the ball around. The best way to do that, get your defensive line getting after him. Colin's buzz cut. How's it going? I didn't know that Colin's buzz cut could text in. What happened to the offense? Hashtag Seahawks. They went away from what made them good. We saw it in the first or second preseason game, I should say, against the Kansas City Chiefs when you got this ones unit out there. You ran the ball. You used Robbie Oots in that fullback position to gain extra leverage. You ran to the strong side. You ran to the weak side. You didn't just run where you had your strength at. You weren't predictable. Sometimes teams thought you were going to run the ball, and you did play action pass. And that opened everything up in the short end of the field, the middle, and on the deep side. My eyes, you have to get back to that. And I don't know why Clint Kubiak went away from it as your OC. In my eyes, maybe it was just, hey, it's my first game, got a little nervous, the 12s were rocking and looming. Maybe the moment got too big for you. Robert Saleh clearly outcoached you. It's not Robert Saleh's first rodeo, but it's also not Clint Kubiak's first rodeo. My eyes, this offense struggled because of play calling. There were other issues that you have to fix at that wide receiver spot of beating one-on-one matchups in that running back room, getting broken tackles. But you got to fix the play calling, and I think everything will be alleviated. Brendan Yoder, glad you showed up. Didn't want to miss you. Thank you so much for texting in. Hashtag Seahawks. D-Law, I expected more. Are we expecting to see him step up and maybe make a few big plays against the Steelers in week 2? Yes. And I get where you're coming from, Brendan, right? We talked about this a little bit earlier. DeMarcus Lawrence did have a good game when you look at it from a stat perspective. He was in the backfield. He was making tackles for loss. He was running around. I mean, shoot, even in that picture, he's within a fingertips grasp of Brock Purdy. But where he can step up and get more on our radar is by getting sacks. And I need more sacks, and I need big sacks in big moments. He needs to make sure that when he has an opportunity to pin his ears back, he has his best pass rush move available. This Steelers offensive line unit is getting better than it's been in previous seasons. But Aaron Rodgers is a statue. He cannot move. Get into the backfield. Dial up fire zones. Dial up man blitzes. Get pressures going. DeMarcus Lawrence, win one-on-one matchups. Got to get back there. Got to get big-time tackles. Mal, good to see you. Saw you on a couple of our other videos. Texted in, hanging out at the watch parties. Really appreciate it. How long have you been a Seahawks fan? Since birth. I was born into it. So I am originally from Vancouver, Washington. Not that Washington. Our Washington, Washington State. Not that Vancouver. I am American. I was born and went to high school in Hawkinson, Washington. So if you know anything about the Hawks, that is where I am from. Just about 20 minutes north of Portland. So that's kind of the area that I grew up in. Not from Seattle, but diehard Seahawks fan. I can thank my dad for that. He grew up indoctrinating me in Seahawks and Mariners propaganda. So those are kind of my big two diehard teams. Played football as an offensive lineman over at Central Washington University. Go Cats. So if anyone who doesn't know about my backstory, you're going to hear me talk a lot about the game in the trenches. That's always going to be because that is my true love. That is where I came from. I love running the football. I love grind out games. I love what this offense can be because as a former offensive lineman, it's what I wanted my offenses to be. If it's 3rd and 1, 4th and inches, don't run the kicking unit out there. Run the dang ball. So that way we can score and we can leave a physical imprint on it. Been a Seahawks fan all my life. I am 27, almost 28 years old, and I think I've been in love with the Seahawks for 29 years. The Super Bowl year gets to count as 2. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in their mailbag questions. Follow me on social media. If you have a burning question, you can slide into my DMs at Will Ortner on X and on Instagram. I'll make sure that I reply as fast as I possibly can to get you your questions and answers. And frankly, if you just want to be up to date on the latest Seattle Seahawks news, as soon as I know information, I get it out to you 12s. Make sure you follow me on those channels. What a fun live. Cody, I hope that answers your question. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my very first live. Thank you, producer Reed, for coming in. Absolutely killing it. If you have any final questions, you can fire those off in the chat. We'll hang out here for another couple minutes. It's a nice little party. If you do follow me on X or on Instagram, why don't I do a couple shout outs? Because I've seen a couple of you jump in. Brendan, thank you so much for following me. Co, thank you so much for following me. Chris Hawksizon, love that, dude. Thank you so much for following me. Those are on Instagram. Did I miss Jalen Milroe Lover? I might as well. I would not want to miss Jalen Milroe Lover. Although I did like it when you were Jalen Milroe's biggest glazer. That did make me laugh. I get why maybe you have to change that. Do you think Torrey Horton should be more involved in the next game? Yeah, I do. And I think that 2 people can handle that. Well, frankly, 3. Sam Darnold can look for him more, look for him quicker. I would say that Clint Kubiak can call plays in a better fashion that's going to allow for more open, deep play threats. And then, frankly, Torrey Horton looked like he was in quicksand. He didn't make anyone miss. He was locked down, no problem. Honestly, until that punt, I forgot that he was even out there participating in this game. So for me, he needs to keep stepping up and doing his thing to improve his opportunities. But at the same time, there are other ways to alleviate some of those stresses, and sometimes you have to do that for a rookie, no matter what position that they play. Brendan, I appreciate it. You sent in the text. Will, before I go, how is it being the host? Are you enjoying it? I love it. It is a great joy. It's a dream job, I would say, to get to cover my favorite team, the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, my first job was out in Portland, and that was fun, and it was a grand old time. But here at Chat Sports, they gave me an offer that, well, frankly, I just couldn't refuse. I get to cover my favorite team. I get to hang out with U12s every single freaking day. I get to talk Seahawks football. I get to hang out with producer Reed, who is offended.
Thank you.
Because I did not mention him first. And it's just a great joy. I love it here. I love the community that was already built here, and I'm appreciative of previous regimes. At the same time, I'm excited to continue to grow this thing all the way to the frickin' moon. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Cody, for going. Follow me on Insta. Nicholas, West Coast Will, loves the Huskies, but I will be at a Cougar game. I know. Don't hate me, Nicholas, but I'm going to go to the WSU game. They're playing North Texas. I can't wait. We've got a lot of North Texas fans here in Chat Sports, so we're all fired up to get out there and go and get to watch a fantastic game on Saturday. Remember, make sure to follow me on social media or on Instagram at Will Ortner, and also subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on our watch party. We are going to be live 1 hour before the Steelers game. 1 hour. Now, here in Texas, Central Time Zone, means we're going to be live at 11. Wherever you live, figure out what time the game's going to be at. We're going to be live an hour before. It's the best spot to be. You can't be at Queen Anne's. You can't be at your local Seahawks bar. You can't be in Pittsburgh celebrating at a tailgate. Join us. We're going to have a couple brews. Enjoy a great time. Now, thank you so much for joining me on my first live. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, I'll see you later.